Your Next 5 Moves by Patrick Bet-David. What if you could see 5 moves ahead? Imagine you're playing chess, not casually, but against someone who's studied every angle of the board. This person isn't reacting to your last move. They're playing 5 steps ahead, setting traps, seeing outcomes before they happen. You're just trying to survive. They're playing to win. Now ask yourself this: what if life is just like that game? That's the central idea behind Your Next 5 Moves by Patrick Bet-David. Life isn't about the move right in front of you. It's about the sequence of moves that follow. Winners don't guess their way to success. They plan, they anticipate, they design their life and business with intention. The most successful people in the world, CEOs, athletes, entrepreneurs, even world leaders, don't react impulsively. They're thinking in patterns, forecasting outcomes, and positioning themselves for future wins. They're playing chess, while most people are playing checkers. This book is more than a guide, it's a mindset shift. Patrick Bet-David doesn't write from a place of theory. His life is proof of the power of strategic thinking. Born during the Iranian Revolution, Patrick and his family fled the chaos and violence, eventually making it to a refugee camp in Germany before landing in the United States. As a young immigrant, he had no clear path, no special advantages. He joined the military after high school, not knowing what else to do. He tried college, then dropped out. He bounced from job to job. By all accounts, he was drifting, until something clicked. That something was strategy. Through relentless reading, mentorship, and experience, Patrick realized that success doesn't happen to you. It happens because of you. He stopped waiting for breaks and started creating leverage. He studied successful people like a chess student studies grandmasters. He began to understand that every breakthrough he admired came from thinking several steps ahead, mapping not just the next decision, but the chain reaction that decision would set off. This was the seed of Your Next 5 Moves. And it's not just relevant for CEOs and startup founders. This book is for anyone who wants more out of life. If you're tired of grinding without direction, of chasing goals that never seem to materialize, then maybe what you're missing isn't motivation, it's strategy. You don't need to move faster. You need to move smarter. Think about it. How often do we make decisions based solely on the moment? We take a job because the paycheck looks good, without considering how it aligns with our long-term vision. We start a business based on passion, but without a clear plan to scale it. We react emotionally in a crisis, then regret the fallout later. The problem isn't our intent. It's our lack of foresight. Strategy is the difference between motion and progress. It's what separates people who are busy from people who are effective. It's not just about working hard. It's about knowing why you're doing what you're doing, where it's leading you, and how each decision moves you closer to your ultimate goal. Without strategy, your talent gets scattered. Your energy gets drained. You chase every opportunity instead of mastering the few that matter. But when you start thinking 5 moves ahead, everything changes. You stop making emotional decisions. You stop being reactive. You start seeing the game for what it is. And you start positioning yourself for real, sustainable success. Patrick often says, if you don't know where you're going, every move is the wrong move. That hits hard, because how many of us are just moving, grinding, working, doing, but not really going anywhere? And then we wonder why we feel burned out, stuck, or confused. But here's the good news. Strategic thinking can be learned. You don't have to be born with some genius-level IQ or business intuition. You just need to slow down, step back, and look at your life like a chessboard. Start asking the hard questions. Start thinking not just about what you want right now, but what you want eventually. Not just the next win, but the right win. Patrick's journey proves that this shift in mindset is possible, no matter where you start. He went from refugee to entrepreneur, from broke and directionless to building a company with thousands of agents nationwide. He built a media brand, Valuetainment, that reaches millions of people around the world. None of it was accidental. Every chapter of his journey involved setbacks, uncertainty, and hard decisions. But because he learned to think 5 moves ahead, he didn't just survive, he succeeded. And here's what's even more powerful. His life isn't about luck. It's about deliberate thinking. His story is a mirror for yours. If he can do it, so can you. If you're willing to learn the mindset and apply it to your own game. Now take a moment to reflect. What would your life look like if you started playing to win instead of playing not to lose? What would happen if you stopped reacting and started designing? If every move you made wasn't random or emotional, but part of a larger, intentional sequence? That kind of thinking doesn't just change your business. It changes your life. This isn't about perfection. You don't have to see the whole board right away. You just need to start by asking better questions. Questions like, where is this decision really taking me? If I say yes to this, what am I saying no to? What are the second and third order consequences of this move? What would the grandmaster version of me do here? That's what this book invites you into. Not just information, but transformation. The kind that happens when you stop operating from emotion or urgency and start operating from strategy. The kind that turns short-term chaos into long-term clarity. So as we continue this journey, remember, your future is not determined by your circumstances. It's determined by your strategy. Your success isn't found in your next move. It's found in the next 5. And I'll leave you with this. What if your next 5 moves determine the rest of your life? Are you playing to win, or just trying not to lose? Let's dive in. Move 1. Know exactly what you want. If you don't know exactly what you want, you'll be seduced by everything that looks good, but ultimately leads nowhere. One of the biggest reasons people fail, get stuck, or burn out isn't because they lack talent or work ethic. It's because they lack clarity. They don't know what they're actually building. They're climbing a ladder, fast, but it's leaned against the wrong wall. This is why the first and most important move in your next 5 moves is simple but profound. Know exactly what you want. Think about it. How can you possibly plan 5 strategic moves if you don't even know where you're going? Clarity is the compass. It gives every decision a purpose. It filters out distractions. It simplifies the complex. Without it, every opportunity becomes a shiny object. Every setback becomes a crisis. Every move becomes reactive instead of intentional. Patrick Bet-David learned this the hard way. After serving in the military, he was like many people in their early 20s, ambitious but unfocused. He was trying everything and committing to nothing. At one point, he took a job in the financial services industry with no idea whether it was a long-term fit. He didn't know what success really looked like for him. He was chasing results, but without vision. So every failure felt personal. Every challenge felt like a reason to quit. That changed when he got brutally honest with himself. He sat down and started asking hard questions. What kind of life do I want? What kind of person do I need to become to get there? What do I believe in? What makes me feel most alive? And perhaps, most importantly, what does success look like for me? Not for my parents, not for society, not for the media, for me. That's when the shift happened. He stopped drifting and started driving. he stopped chasing and started building. And from that foundation, he would go on to build a multi-million-dollar agency, a thriving media brand, and a life defined by purpose, not confusion. This isn't just Patrick's story. It can be yours too. Because clarity doesn't come from luck. It comes from intention. It's a decision you make to stop reacting and start defining. So, what does it mean to know exactly what you want? It starts with identity. Before you define your goals, you have to understand who you are. Your strengths, your weaknesses, your values, your beliefs, your ambitions. You can't build a meaningful strategy on someone else's foundation. You have to get real with yourself. What drives you? What repels you? What kind of environment do you thrive in? Are you a visionary, a builder, a manager, a creator? One of the most useful tools Patrick shares in the book is the concept of understanding your entrepreneurial DNA. Not all entrepreneurs are the same. Some are artists, driven by creative expression. Some are builders, obsessed with scaling and systems. Some are opportunists, gifted at spotting trends and pivoting fast. Some are strategists, deliberate, patient, playing the long game. Knowing your type helps you choose the right path, the right team, and the right tactics. It's not about being better. It's about being aligned. Once you have clarity on who you are, then you can define what success means to you. Because not everyone wants to run a billion-dollar company. Some people want freedom. Others want legacy. Some crave influence. Others crave peace. And there is no right answer. But you must have an answer. Vague goals produce vague results. But a crystal clear vision? That's a map. That's power. Patrick recommends writing a personal mission statement. This isn't a corporate slogan. It's a declaration of purpose. It should reflect your values, your long-term vision, and the impact you want to make. It should remind you who you are and where you're headed. This one tool can anchor you when life gets messy, when temptations arise, or when fear creeps in. From there, craft your long-term vision. Not just the next year, but the next decade. Imagine your life 10 years from now. Where do you live? What does your day look like? What kind of work are you doing? Who are you surrounded by? What kind of legacy are you building? This kind of clarity isn't a luxury. It's a necessity. Because life will constantly try to distract you. You'll get job offers that pay well but don't align. You'll face problems that feel urgent but aren't important. You'll have days when everything feels overwhelming. In those moments, your vision will be your filter. It will guide your decisions and remind you what actually matters. Clarity also breeds confidence. When you know what you want and why you want it, you stop comparing yourself to others. You stop chasing every trend. You stop seeking validation. You can look at someone else's life, no matter how impressive, and say, "That's great for them, but it's not what I'm building." Let's be real. Most people live in reaction mode. They're not building a life. They're surviving one. They take the job their parents told them to. They buy the car their friends will admire. They post the pictures they think will get likes. And years later, they wonder why they feel empty. Don't be that person. Define what winning looks like for you before the world defines it for you. This might feel overwhelming at first. That's okay. Clarity doesn't come from one magical moment. It comes from asking better questions and having honest conversations with yourself. You don't need to figure everything out today, but you do need to start. So here's your challenge. Write down what you want your life to look like in 10 years. Don't worry about being perfect. Just get it out. Paint the picture. Describe your lifestyle, your work, your relationships, your health, your legacy. Be specific. Be bold. Be you. Then ask, what values does this vision reflect? What am I willing to sacrifice to make this real? What kind of person do I need to become to live this life? That's where strategy begins, not with spreadsheets or tactics, but with clarity of purpose. Because once you know exactly what you want, everything else becomes easier. You'll know which battles are worth fighting, which opportunities to chase, which risks to take, which habits to build. This is the foundation of all 5 moves. Without it, the rest collapse. But with it, you can start designing your future with precision, focus, and purpose. So, I'll ask you again, what does winning look like for you? Not for your parents, not for Instagram, not for society, for you. Because until you answer that question, you'll always be playing someone else's game. And trust me, you were born to play your own. Move 2. Master the ability to reason. Let's talk about one of the most underrated skills in life and business. The ability to reason. Not just to think, but to reason. To hold yourself steady when emotions are flaring, when stakes are high, when the pressure is crushing your chest. Your ability to win in life, truly win, has far less to do with raw intelligence and far more to do with emotional discipline and clear, rational thinking. Here's the truth. Your mind is your most powerful weapon, but only if you train it. Too many people operate like emotional roller coasters. One bad meeting, one nasty comment, one missed target, and they spiral. They react instead of respond. They let anger, fear, insecurity, or ego steer the wheel. And then they wonder why their business, their relationships, and their results feel out of control. This is why your next 5 moves dedicates an entire section to move number 2. Master the ability to reason. Because without this skill, even the clearest vision, move number 1, falls apart. You can't make great decisions if you're emotionally hijacked. You can't build an empire if you're ruled by impulses. You can't lead a team if you crumble under pressure. Patrick Bet-David puts it bluntly. The people who win in life are the ones who think clearly under fire. He knows this because he's lived it. As an entrepreneur, Patrick has faced lawsuits, betrayals, public attacks, internal team drama, financial crises, you name it. There were moments he could have exploded, moments he could have lashed out, moments he could have made short-sighted decisions that would have cost him years of progress. But instead, he learned to pause, to reason, to evaluate, not escalate. One story that stands out is when he lost several top leaders in his company, people he'd mentored, trusted, even considered friends. They didn't just leave, they tried to take others with them. It was a blow to morale and momentum. Emotionally, it felt like a betrayal. Logically, it was a challenge to overcome. And that's exactly how Patrick treated it. Not as a personal attack, but as a strategic problem. He didn't fire off angry emails. He didn't wage war on social media. He pulled back, assessed, reflected. He asked, "What can I learn from this? Where did I go wrong as a leader? What systems need to change so this doesn't happen again?" That's reasoning. That's the mental toughness it takes to survive and thrive in leadership. So what does it actually mean to master the ability to reason? Let's break it down into practical principles. First, emotional intelligence is non-negotiable. You need to be aware of your emotions, without being owned by them. That means catching yourself in the moment. When anger flares up, pause. When fear creeps in, examine it. When ego wants to defend or prove something, step back and ask, why am I reacting this way? Just that moment of awareness creates space for a better choice. Second, use first principles thinking. This is a concept popularized by Elon Musk and rooted in the scientific method. Instead of making decisions based on assumptions, tradition, or opinions, break things down to their fundamental truths. Ask yourself, what do I know for sure? What is the actual problem I'm solving? What are the raw components I can build from? For example, don't just assume you need a big marketing budget because that's what everyone does. Ask, what am I really trying to do? Reach more people, build trust, drive action. What's the most efficient way to do that with the tools and resources I have right now? This kind of thinking clears the fog. It helps you avoid emotional traps like groupthink, herd mentality, and reactive decisions. Third, evaluate risk with clarity. Most people either ignore risk or exaggerate it, but strategic thinkers quantify it. Ask, what's the worst-case scenario? What's the probability it happens? What's the cost of inaction? What can I do to minimize downside while maximizing upside? Patrick shares how he applies this during legal challenges or expansion opportunities. Instead of panicking, he gathers facts, gets legal counsel, explores all outcomes, and makes a calculated decision. That's reason. It's not cold or robotic, it's mature. And maturity is the superpower of long-term winners. Here's another tool. Adopt the mindset of a chess player, not a poker player. In poker, you bluff. You react to cards and gamble. In chess, you think several steps ahead based on logic, not luck. You don't make emotional moves. You make intentional ones. This doesn't mean emotion has no place. It means emotion doesn't drive the decision. It supports it after it's been thought through. Now, let's get practical. When something stressful hits, a deal falls apart, a partner disappoints you, a plan fails, pause and walk yourself through these steps. 1. Label the emotion. I feel angry. I feel disappointed. This reduces its power. 2. Ask what's true. What's actually happening? Not what I fear is happening. 3. Zoom out. How will this affect me in 1 week? 1 year? 4. Define options. What are 3 possible responses? What are the consequences of each? 5. Choose the most logical, long-term focused action. Do this consistently, and you'll become the calmest person in the room. And make no mistake, calm is power. Mastering the ability to reason is also how you build influence. People trust leaders who are composed, not erratic. They follow those who think before they speak, act with intention, and take ownership without drama. This applies to business, parenting, partnerships, everything. Let's flip the script for a moment. Think back to a time you made a bad decision because you were emotional. Maybe you rushed into a business deal out of desperation, or snapped at a teammate and ruined a relationship, or avoided a hard conversation because of fear. What if, instead of reacting, you had paused and reasoned? Now ask yourself, what's one area in your life right now where emotion is running the show? Is it your finances, your relationship, your health? What would it look like to let logic take the lead? That's your challenge. Don't just nod and move on. Identify one specific situation in your life where you need to reason better. Write it down. List the emotions clouding your view. Then break it down with logic. Ask yourself, what does a calm, strategic version of me do here? Remember, mastery isn't about never feeling emotion. It's about choosing how you respond to it. And when you master that skill, you become unshakable. In a world full of noise, drama, and chaos, the person who can think clearly stands out like a lighthouse in a storm. Be that lighthouse. Be that strategic, grounded, focused version of yourself. Not just for success, but for peace of mind. So let me leave you with this. Your emotions are signals, not steering wheels. Learn to listen, but don't let them drive. Let reason lead the way. Move 3. Build the right strategy. Let's say you've got a clear vision. You know who you are and what you want. You've mastered emotional discipline and can think under pressure. Great! But without a strategy, you're still just a well-intentioned amateur. A dreamer with a compass, but no map. This is where move number 3 from your next 5 moves comes in. Build the right strategy. Because it's not about just working hard. It's about working smart in the right direction. Strategy turns desire into design. It's how you close the gap between where you are and where you want to be. Here's the catch. Most people don't build a strategy that fits them. Instead, they copy what someone else is doing. They read about a successful entrepreneur or watch a YouTuber with 10 million subscribers and think, I'll just do what they did. But that's like playing chess with someone else's board and pieces. It's not your game. It's not your strengths. It's not your timeline. And that's how years get wasted, pursuing a strategy that was never built for your context. Patrick Bet-David says it best. There is no one-size-fits-all strategy. You must tailor your strategy based on your industry, your resources, your risk tolerance, and your long-term goals. This is what separates tactical players from strategic operators. Tactics are short-term moves. Strategy is about the architecture of the entire game. To build the right strategy, you need to think like a chess player. Not just about your next move, but about how each move sets up the next 5. That's where strategic depth comes in. Let's walk through some key frameworks Patrick uses to develop strategy with surgical precision. 1. Know your position on the chessboard. Start by asking, where am I really, right now? Be brutally honest. Are you in the startup phase, scrappy and under-resourced? Are you in growth mode, trying to scale systems and team? Or are you preparing for an exit, looking to sell or automate? In chess, your strategy changes based on your position. A beginner doesn't play like a grandmaster. A pawn's job isn't the same as a queen's. Same goes for business. A new real estate agent should not copy the marketing budget of a seasoned broker. A content creator with 500 followers shouldn't model their strategy after someone with a production team. The right strategy begins with truthfully identifying your current stage. Second, offense versus defense. This is a critical distinction. Are you playing offense, expanding, launching, hiring, innovating? Or are you playing defense, preserving cash, protecting your reputation, fixing internal issues? Patrick shares that in building PHP Agency, he constantly toggled between these two modes. Early on, it was all offense. He needed visibility, he needed volume, and he needed it fast. But when he faced legal pressure and public scrutiny, he had to switch to defense, securing the business, refining contracts, and strengthening the foundation. Most people get stuck by playing the wrong game at the wrong time. They go on the offensive when their foundation is shaky, or they retreat into defense when it's time to take bold risks. Your job is to ask, given my position, what phase am I in? And based on that, what actions should I prioritize? 3. Play for the exit, even if you're just starting. One of Patrick's most powerful teachings is to build with the end in mind. Whether you want to sell your business, hand it down, or automate it for passive income, your exit strategy shapes your current strategy. If you want to sell in 5 years, your decisions today must increase valuation, not just revenue. If you want to create generational wealth, you need systems that outlive your presence. At PHP Agency, Patrick didn't just build for speed, he built for sustainability. From day one, he asked, what would make this business valuable to someone else? That question informed everything, from how he documented processes to how he hired leaders. That's chess thinking. It's not about just surviving the next quarter. It's about dominating the next decade. 4. Think in leverage points, not just activity. Amateurs think, how much can I do? Strategists ask, what's the most valuable thing I can do that multiplies results? It's not about more activity. It's about leverage. What systems, partnerships, or content could create exponential impact? Let's say you're a solopreneur with limited time. You could spend every day posting on social media, or you could create one powerful lead magnet and use paid ads to scale it. That's leverage. Or maybe instead of trying to manage 20 small clients, you design a premium offer for just 5. That's focus. Every strategy needs to account for leverage. Where can I get the highest return on my time, energy, and capital? 5. Reverse engineer the outcome. One of the most tactical parts of Patrick's approach is this. Start with the end, then work backward. If your goal is to 10x your business in 3 years, don't just start doing random things. Break it down. What revenue does that require? How many clients is that? What type of marketing will attract them? What team do you need? What systems must be in place? This process turns dreams into blueprints. It takes emotion out of the equation and replaces it with logic. You stop guessing and start building. Now, let's talk real-world story. When Patrick started PHP Agency, he literally began at his kitchen table with a whiteboard and a vision. He didn't have capital. He didn't have famous mentors. But he had strategy. He identified an underserved market. First-generation immigrants, minorities, people overlooked by traditional financial firms. He crafted a narrative around helping the underdog win. Then he trained recruiters to multiply that message. He leveraged video content before it was popular in financial services. He gamified recruiting and retention. Every move was tailored to his specific position, culture, and goal. Over time, that kitchen table startup became a national platform with tens of thousands of agents. Not because he followed someone else's playbook, but because he built the right strategy for his unique game. Let's bring it back to you. Don't just ask, what should I do? Ask, where am I on the board? Am I playing offense or defense? What is my end game? And how do I reverse engineer it? Where can I find leverage? What plays align with my strengths, my mission, and my market? This leads us to your challenge. If you had to triple your results in the next 12 months, what's the strategy that would make it possible? Not the tactics, not the surface-level stuff. The strategy. Think deeply. Write it down. Build around your truth, not someone else's highlight reel. Because once you learn to think this way, strategically, holistically, long-term, you stop spinning your wheels. You stop falling for every new trend. And you start moving like a chess master, deliberate, composed, and 10 steps ahead. Remember, talent without strategy is wasted. Hustle without strategy is chaos. But the right strategy? It's a multiplier. It makes everything else make sense. So don't just play hard, play smart. That's how empires are built, one strategic move at a time. Move 4. Scale with systems. If you want to build something that lasts, something bigger than just your name, then at some point you have to make the leap from being a doer to being a builder. From operator to orchestrator. That's what move number 4 in Patrick Bet-David's Your Next 5 Moves is all about. Scaling with systems. This move separates the grinders from the empire builders, the freelancers from the founders. The difference? Systems and people. If you're the only engine in your business, you will eventually burn out. Your income will hit a ceiling. Your time will vanish. Your energy will drain. But when you learn how to build systems and scale through others, your business becomes a machine that keeps running, even when you're not behind the wheel every hour of the day. Let's start with a simple but uncomfortable truth. You are the bottleneck. No matter how skilled, talented, or hardworking you are, if every decision, every task, every client issue, every email comes through you, your business can only grow as fast as your bandwidth. That's the trap most entrepreneurs fall into. They say they want growth, but they refuse to let go. They micromanage, overwork, and drown in details because they haven't learned to trust systems and build people. Patrick experienced this firsthand. In the early years of PHP Agency, he tried to do it all. Hiring? He did it. Training? He led it. Marketing? He approved every word. But soon, he realized he was stuck. His company was growing, but not scaling. There's a difference. Growth is adding more effort for more results. Scaling is building infrastructure that multiplies results without multiplying your effort. So how do you scale with systems? Let's break it down into 5 core ideas. 1. You can't scale without people. But not just any people. If you want to scale, you need to build a team of A players. That means recruiting people who take ownership, not orders. People who think for themselves. People who match your values, pace, and standards. Patrick admits that in his early days, he made poor hiring decisions. He hired based on convenience, familiarity, or desperation, only to spend months cleaning up after weak performers. Eventually, he developed a system to spot and attract talent. He created an intentional hiring process with clear filters, expectations, and onboarding. He also stopped settling. He asked tougher questions like, does this person fit the culture I'm building? Will they grow with the company or become a liability under pressure? A players don't just add manpower, they multiply momentum. If you're serious about scaling, you can't afford to compromise here. Your business will rise or fall based on the strength of your team. 2. Build systems, then get out of the way. A business that scales has systems for everything: hiring, onboarding, customer service, sales, marketing, finance, and even culture. Systems are documented, repeatable processes that deliver consistent results without needing constant supervision. Most entrepreneurs resist systems because they think it kills creativity. But here's the truth. Systems protect your energy so you can spend your creativity where it matters most. You shouldn't be figuring out how to invoice a client every week or reinventing your onboarding every time someone joins your team. Build it once. Document it. Train someone to run it. Then move on to higher value tasks. Systems is equal to freedom. Start simple. What tasks do you do over and over again? What steps do they involve? Who can you train to take this over? It's not about perfection. It's about progress. Every system you install takes a weight off your shoulders and moves you closer to true scalability. 3. Culture is a system too. Most people think of culture as vibe, ping-pong tables, and pizza parties. But real culture is a system of beliefs, behaviors, and expectations that drive performance. It's the invisible engine that determines how people show up, how they treat customers, how they handle pressure, and how they represent your brand when you're not in the room. Patrick was obsessed with building culture at HPP. He created rituals, language, traditions, and standards that shaped how people thought and behaved. He didn't just wing it, he architected it. Weekly calls, recognition programs, competitions, storytelling, all designed to reinforce the company's identity and align everyone to the mission. You don't need 100 employees to build culture. You can start with 5. Just make sure those 5 understand why you exist, what you value, and how you operate, and then live it out consistently. 4. Delegate like a leader, not a control freak. If you're doing $10 tasks when your role requires $10,000 thinking, you're not scaling. You're babysitting. One of the hardest lessons to learn is letting go. But delegation isn't abdication. It's not throwing tasks at people and hoping for the best. It's clear communication, defined outcomes, and empowered ownership. Patrick learned to delegate by shifting his mindset. Instead of asking, "How do I make sure they don't screw this up?" he asked, "How do I train and trust them to succeed?" He built dashboards, accountability systems, and KPIs to monitor progress without micromanaging. He trained leaders to think critically and make decisions aligned with the vision. If you want to scale, ask yourself, what tasks am I doing that someone else could do 80% as well, or even better, with proper training? That's your delegation list. Start small. Hire a virtual assistant. Train a junior team member. Build your delegation muscle. The more you let go, the more you grow. 5. Scaling requires vision alignment. Systems and people alone aren't enough. You also need alignment, everyone rowing in the same direction. That means being obsessively clear about your company's mission, values, and goals. When people don't understand the why behind what they're doing, they lose motivation. But when they're emotionally connected to the mission, they bring their best. Patrick constantly reinforced the vision of PHP. Every meeting, every video, every story he told reminded people of their purpose. He wasn't just building an insurance company, he was building a movement for financial literacy and opportunity. That story gave people meaning, and meaning creates momentum. If you want people to care as much as you do, they have to see what you see. Paint the vision over and over again. Align incentives. Recognize alignment. Correct misalignment. Vision without repetition becomes static. Vision with systems becomes scale. Now, here's your challenge. It's simple, but it could change everything. What are 3 things you do every week that someone else could do 80% as well, or better, with the right system and training? Write them down. Then start the process of handing them off. Even if you free up just 5 hours a week, that's 5 more hours to think strategically, pursue higher-level opportunities, or rest and recharge. Scaling isn't about doing more. It's about doing less of the wrong things and empowering others to do more of the right things. It's about building something that works with or without you. That's legacy. That's freedom. That's power. Because in the end, your success isn't just about how hard you can push, it's about how well you can build. And builders don't just stack bricks. They design blueprints, install systems, and raise leaders. Don't settle for a hustle. Build a machine, scale with systems, and create something that outgrows you. Move 5 master power plays. If life is a game, then power is the scoreboard that too many people ignore. We're taught to play nice, keep our heads down, and wait for recognition. But here's the truth. The world doesn't reward merit alone. It rewards those who understand power. This final move from Patrick Bet-David's Your Next 5 Moves isn't about manipulation or deceit. It's about ethical influence, strategic leverage, and the ability to play the game of power intelligently, not emotionally. Power is not evil. Power is not dirty. Power is neutral. It's like fire. It can warm your home or burn it down. It depends on how you use it. In business, relationships, and leadership, power is always at play. And if you don't understand it, you're giving it away, day by day, decision by decision, without even realizing it. Patrick makes one thing clear. If you ignore power, someone else will use it on you. They'll set the terms. They'll control the narrative. They'll make the rules. and you'll wonder why your hard work isn't translating into influence or opportunity. But when you master power plays, when you learn to see the invisible forces behind outcomes, you start moving like a grandmaster, not just on the board, but across industries, negotiations, and public perception. Let's break down what mastering power plays really means and how you can start applying it to your life and business today. Power Play 1. Understand the landscape before you make a move. One of the most dangerous things you can do in business, or in life, is make a power move without understanding the environment. It's like charging into battle without knowing the terrain. You might be bold, but you'll also be blind. Patrick learned this lesson in the trenches. As he began scaling PHP Agency, he encountered competitors who had deeper pockets, more political ties, and stronger relationships with the media. It wasn't just about who had the best product. It was about who understood how influence really worked. Before you make a move, study the players. Who's truly in charge? What do they care about? Who influences them? Where's the leverage? Who controls the attention, the narrative, the alliances? If you don't ask these questions, you'll get blindsided by players who already know the answers. And once you understand the game board, you can begin to place your pieces with intention, not emotion. Power Play 2. Attention is the new currency. We live in the attention economy. If people aren't paying attention to you, your product, your message, or your brand, you don't exist. Patrick realized early on that building influence wasn't optional. It was survival. He began to produce content, give talks, appear on podcasts, and eventually build a YouTube channel that now reaches millions. Why? Because attention creates leverage. It builds trust at scale. It makes you a player in rooms you haven't even entered yet. Visibility is power. It opens doors. It protects you from attacks. It amplifies your message and multiplies your opportunities. You don't need 1 million followers to use this principle. You just need to consistently show up where your audience hangs out. Be visible. Be valuable. And over time, your name becomes synonymous with excellence and influence. Power Play. 3. Negotiate like a strategist, not a pleaser. Let's talk about negotiation, not just as a tactic, but as a mindset. Too many people negotiate from a position of fear. They want to be liked. They fear conflict. So they settle, they fold, or they don't even make the ask. But negotiation isn't about being aggressive. It's about knowing your value, understanding what the other party truly wants, and positioning your offer as the key to their goals. Patrick has negotiated with partners, investors, vendors, and even competitors. He's walked away from deals that didn't serve the long game, and he's secured alliances that changed the course of his company. A great negotiator doesn't just talk well. They listen well. They read the room. They prepare relentlessly. They're not emotional. They're tactical. And most importantly, they never negotiate from desperation. Want to improve your negotiation power starting today? Do this. Stop talking first. Start asking questions. Learn what the other party values most. Then structure your offer around that. Power in negotiation doesn't come from what you say. It comes from what you know. Power Play 4. Learn the art of optics. Here's a hard truth. Perception often matters more than reality. You may be excellent, but if the world perceives you as average, you'll be treated as such. You may be winning, but if you can't frame it as momentum, you'll struggle to attract followers, customers, and investors. Patrick learned to master the art of optics, how to present wins in a way that created confidence, how to share stories that aligned with his mission, and how to stay in control of his narrative even when critics or competitors tried to twist it. Optics are not lies. They're intentional framing of the truth. They're the difference between telling your story and having it told for you. Ask yourself, how are you perceived in your market? What do people say about your brand when you're not in the room? Are you controlling the narrative or letting others define you? Improve your optics by refining your message, updating your digital presence, and consistently communicating your values, results, and vision. Power Play 5. Use leverage, not force. The most powerful people don't push harder. They pull smarter. That's the essence of leverage. Leverage is when small inputs produce massive outputs. It comes in many forms: capital, relationships, systems, teams, media, and intellectual property. The more leverage you have, the less you need to exert brute force. Patrick used leverage to expand PHP without drowning in logistics. He created scalable systems, developed leaders who could operate independently, and used his media presence to attract more top-tier talent. Here's the litmus test. If your business grows only when you work more hours, you have a leverage problem. Start thinking in terms of tools, not toil. Build things that keep working even when you're sleeping. Now, let's bring it home with the most important reflection of all. Where are you giving away your power without realizing it? Is it in your silence during a negotiation? Is it in your hesitation to share your story online? Is it in allowing someone else to set the terms, the pace, or the narrative? It's time to take it back. This week, do one thing, just one, that reclaims your power. Speak up in a meeting. Say no to something that doesn't serve your vision. Publish that post. Ask for the deal. Set a boundary. Power doesn't come from force. It comes from clarity, confidence, and courage. Patrick didn't build influence because he was the loudest. He built it because he was intentional. He studied the game. He respected it. And then he played it to win, with ethics, with strategy, and with heart. So if you want to lead, grow, and dominate in your field, don't just work harder. Master power plays. Influence the room. Negotiate from strength. Leverage your position. And protect your vision like it's your life's mission. Because it is. You're not just a player. You're a force. Start acting like it. Section 2. How to reassess and course correct. Success is not a straight line. It's a series of zigs, zags, twists, and turns. Even the best-laid plans must be reevaluated, refined, and, sometimes, completely overhauled. The ability to reassess and course correct is one of the most underrated but essential skills for anyone who wants to thrive in life or business. Patrick Bet-David calls this pivoting with precision, and it's what separates stagnant leaders from strategic champions. Let's get real. No matter how smart you are, how detailed your plan is, or how hard you hustle, the path you start on is never exactly the one you finish on. The world changes. Markets shift. People quit. Customers behave unpredictably. And sometimes, you realize the path you're on is not even leading where you thought. That's not failure. That's feedback. But here's the catch. Most people ignore the signs. They fall in love with the plan instead of the purpose. And so, they get stuck. Reassessment is not weakness. It's wisdom. The strongest leaders are those who step back regularly to ask, is this still working? Are we still aligned? Is this still the best path to the vision? If the answer is no, they adjust without ego. That's the power of pivoting with precision. Let's break this down. There are 3 core ideas at play here: vision, feedback, and flexibility. Your vision is the North Star. That doesn't change. It's the long-term picture of who you want to become, what kind of life or company you want to build, and what impact you want to have. But your strategy to get there? That will change. And it should change, because new data, new experiences, and new challenges will emerge. To ignore that reality is to drive blindfolded. Think about this. A pilot flying from New York to London is off course most of the time. Wind, weather, and air traffic constantly push the plane off its exact path. But the autopilot system keeps adjusting, again and again, moment by moment, making small course corrections until the plane lands exactly where it's supposed to. That's the model. You don't need perfection. You need correction. Now, let's talk about why most people struggle with this. One word: ego. Ego hates admitting that something's not working. Ego says, "We already invested so much into this path, we can't backtrack now." Ego says, "If we change course, people will think we failed." But high performers understand that failure is not falling down. It's staying down. Course correction isn't an admission of failure. It's a sign of leadership maturity. Patrick faced this firsthand during one of the most chaotic moments of modern business history, the COVID-19 pandemic. PHP Agency was growing fast, building in-person culture, training through live events, and scaling through human interaction. Then, boom. Lockdowns, no travel, no events. Team morale threatened, revenue shaken. But instead of panicking or pretending everything was fine, Patrick led his company into hyper-reflection mode. Every department had to ask, what's working? What's not? Where are we bleeding? What's the opportunity in this chaos? They pivoted hard, investing in virtual training systems, digitizing operations, building out better online onboarding, and creating new communication frameworks. The result? PHP came out stronger than before. They didn't just survive the storm, they adapted in it. That's the power of strategic reassessment. So, how do you apply this practically? Step 1. Build checkpoints into your calendar. Whether it's quarterly business reviews, monthly self-reflection time, or weekly team debriefs, you must create regular moments to step back from execution and zoom out. Ask, are we hitting our goals? Are our efforts producing results? Has the environment changed? Do our systems still serve our mission? Don't wait for disaster to force you into reflection. Build it in before the crisis. Step 2. Track metrics that matter. You can't correct what you don't measure. That means having KPIs, key performance indicators, for your business, your habits, your finances, even your relationships. Look at both hard numbers, sales, retention, profit margins, and soft signals, team energy, customer feedback, and culture quality. Let the data tell the truth, even when it hurts. Step 3. Create if-then plans. High-level thinking means preparing for possible pivots before you need them. If sales drop 20%, then we move to Plan B. If a key partner leaves, then we realign resources. This kind of pre-mortem thinking is not paranoia. It's preparation. It gives you confidence that no matter what hits, you'll respond, not react. And here's the emotional side of reassessment that no one talks about: permission. Sometimes, the hardest pivot is the one that involves your identity. You may realize that the role you're in no longer fits. The business you built doesn't light you up anymore. The vision you had 10 years ago doesn't align with who you've become. That's not failure, that's growth. But it takes immense courage to admit that, and even more courage to act on it. Patrick has said this in interviews many times. I used to think my purpose was money. Then I thought it was freedom. Now, I know its impact. That evolution didn't come from blind hustle. It came from intentional reassessment. It came from stepping back regularly to ask, am I still on mission? You deserve the same grace. So let me challenge you now. What's one area of your life or business that needs a reset? Maybe it's a team that's lost momentum. Maybe it's a product that no longer fits the market. Maybe it's a routine that used to serve you, but now holds you back. Maybe it's your own role. You've outgrown it, and deep down, you know it. Whatever it is, don't ignore it. Reassess, reflect, and course correct. The longer you wait, the more costly the drift becomes. You are not a tree. You can move. You are not your past plan. You can evolve. You are not stuck. You are strategic, but only if you're willing to look honestly at where you are and courageously pivot toward where you're meant to be. So don't fear the pivot. Master it. Your next best move might not be bigger. It might just be better. And that's the kind of move that keeps you not just surviving the game, but playing to win. Section 3. Mental toughness and resilience. When you think about success, what comes to mind? Is it flashy wins, big deals, or breakthrough moments? Those things matter, but there's an invisible game behind every achievement. The inner game. The mental battle. The daily war between quitting and pushing forward. This is the core of mental toughness and resilience, the qualities that Patrick Bet-David champions as the essential foundation for anyone who wants to win in life and business. Strategy, planning, and vision can only take you so far. Because when the storms hit, and trust me, they will, it's your mindset that keeps you standing. Mental toughness is not just about grit or brute force. It's about learning how to suffer productively, to see pain and setbacks not as reasons to quit, but as necessary steps on the path to greatness. Without resilience, even the best ideas and strategies collapse under pressure. Let's be honest, no one likes pain. No one wants failure. But the truth is, every vision worth chasing will test you. Every meaningful goal will push you to your limits, demanding more than just skills or smarts. It demands character. It demands stamina. It demands you learn how to embrace discomfort, uncertainty, and fear. Patrick Bet-David knows this firsthand. His journey is a powerful testament to mental toughness. Growing up as a refugee escaping war-torn Iran, he experienced uncertainty and hardship that most of us can barely imagine. But that was only the beginning. As an entrepreneur, Patrick's business nearly collapsed more than once. There were moments when the weight of failure felt unbearable, and the temptation to walk away was overwhelming. Yet, he didn't quit. Instead, he learned how to face pain head-on, reframing setbacks as opportunities to grow stronger. This ability to persist, to stay the course when others would crumble, is what separates those who win from those who give up. Winning the inner game is about building habits that prepare your mind for the long haul. It's about crafting daily routines that reinforce discipline and focus. It's about training yourself to reframe failure as feedback, not defeat. Imagine a boxer in the ring. The punches come fast, hard, and often unexpectedly. The champion isn't the one who never gets hit. It's the one who keeps rising after every knockdown. In life and business, mental toughness is your ability to get back up, shake off the pain, and keep fighting smarter and harder. So how do you build this kind of resilience? First, start by embracing daily routines that reinforce discipline. Whether it's journaling, meditation, exercise, or focused reading, choose habits that strengthen your mental muscles. These rituals become your anchor in times of chaos, reminding your brain that you control the narrative, not the other way around. Second, learn to reframe setbacks. Instead of asking, "Why me?" ask, "What lesson is here? How can I improve?" Every failure is a classroom if you're willing to be a student. The greatest leaders don't avoid pain. They extract wisdom from it. When your business fails, your team disappoints, or your plans fall apart, the resilient mindset says, "This is part of the process. What's my next move?" Third, Surround yourself with people who push you to be better. Resilience doesn't mean going it alone. It means building a support system that holds you accountable, challenges your thinking, and reminds you why the fight is worth it. Patrick's story illustrates these points vividly. At one low moment, he nearly walked away from entrepreneurship. The debts piled up, the stress mounted, and it seemed easier to quit than to keep struggling. But something inside him refused to give up. He visualized the next-level version of himself, the leader who faced pain head-on and kept moving forward no matter what. That vision pulled him through the darkest hours and eventually led PHP Agency to explosive growth. This is the kind of mental toughness anyone can develop. It's not a fixed trait you're born with. It's a skill you cultivate over time through deliberate practice and mindset shifts. Now, it's your turn to reflect. What pain are you avoiding? Is there a challenge or fear you keep pushing aside because it feels too hard or uncomfortable? That pain, that discomfort, is likely the exact place where growth lives. The next level you isn't someone who avoids hardship. It's someone who faces it with courage, learns from it, and uses it to build unshakable resilience. Ask yourself today, how would the stronger, wiser, more determined version of you handle this situation? What habits would that version have already built? What mindset shifts have they made? And what is the first step you can take right now to move toward that ideal self? Mental toughness isn't about being perfect or never feeling weak. It's about mastering the art of getting up every time you fall. It's about understanding that the path to success is a marathon, not a sprint. It's about turning pain into power and setbacks into stepping stones. Remember, no matter how tough the journey gets, the strongest leaders are those who embrace the struggle and keep moving forward. Because winning the inner game means winning everything else that follows. Section 4. Build wealth intelligently. When we talk about success, money inevitably comes up. But here's the harsh truth that many don't want to hear. Making money alone isn't enough. You can be earning a 6- or 7-figure income and still feel trapped, stressed, or uncertain about your future. Building real wealth isn't just about the dollars that flow in. It's about the discipline to keep, grow, and strategically use that money to create freedom and opportunity. This is the essence of building wealth intelligently. Patrick Bet-David, through his journey and teachings, drives home a powerful principle. Wealth is a mindset and a strategy, not just a byproduct of income. Too many people confuse rich with wealthy. Being rich often means having a lot of money coming in today, but no sustainable system to preserve or multiply it. Being wealthy, on the other hand, means having financial security, generational impact, and the freedom to make choices without fear. Why does this matter? Because many people find themselves stuck in a dangerous cycle. They work hard, make more money, but spend and invest poorly, living paycheck to paycheck despite a high income. Others live frugally but never take intelligent risks to grow their net worth. The key is finding balance, to build a money strategy that grows your cash flow and assets over time while protecting your downside. Patrick's story reflects this truth vividly. Early in his entrepreneurial career, he made plenty of money but didn't fully understand how to steward it. Income was unstable, and he felt the pressure of living paycheck to paycheck in between deals. But over time, he learned to shift his mindset from making money to building wealth. He developed strict saving ratios, committed to investing with a long-term horizon, and diversified his income streams. One of the most important lessons he shares is this: wealth is built through discipline, patience, and smart allocation, not flashy wins or get-rich-quick schemes. It's about deciding today to sacrifice short-term gratification for long-term gains. That might mean saying no to expensive vacations, delaying luxury purchases, or resisting risky investments that promise quick returns but could wipe you out. A practical way to apply this is by setting clear saving ratios. For example, a common guideline is to save at least 20 to 30% of your income consistently. This is your foundation. From there, investing that savings in assets that produce passive income, real estate, stocks, or your own business, is the key to creating financial freedom. This means your money is working for you, even when you're not working. It's the difference between trading hours for dollars and owning systems that generate cash flow day and night. Patrick also stresses the importance of understanding risk and investing with a long-term mindset. The stock market's daily ups and downs are noise. What matters is the steady accumulation of wealth over years and decades. Avoid chasing trends or emotional decisions. Instead, build a diversified portfolio and focus on assets that align with your risk tolerance and goals. Another critical point is creating multiple streams of income. Wealthy people rarely rely on one source. They leverage investments, businesses, royalties, and other income-producing assets. This diversity not only increases earnings potential, but also protects you from the risk of a single point of failure. Patrick's current approach to money reflects this philosophy deeply. He invests in ventures that align with his vision and values, maintains cash reserves for opportunity and emergencies, and constantly refines his financial knowledge. Money, for him, is a tool, not the goal. It's the lever that creates options, builds legacy, and empowers impact. Now, here's the challenge for you. Think about your current money habits. Is there one behavior, spending pattern, or mindset that's keeping you financially stuck? Maybe it's living beyond your means, failing to save consistently, or being afraid to invest. Identify that habit, because awareness is the first step to change. Then ask yourself, what's the first step you can take today toward breaking that pattern? It might be setting up an automatic savings transfer, educating yourself on investing basics, or creating a budget that forces discipline. Remember, building wealth intelligently isn't about perfection. It's about consistent progress. The truth is, financial freedom is possible for anyone willing to learn and commit. It's not about luck or inheritance. It's about strategy, discipline, and mindset. When you master the art of intelligent wealth building, you gain more than money. You gain security, freedom, and the power to live life on your own terms. So, ask yourself right now, what does financial freedom mean for you? How will building wealth intelligently change your life? The answers to those questions will guide your next move. Because wealth isn't just a number in your bank account, it's the ability to design your future without fear, to invest in your dreams, and to leave a lasting impact long after you're gone. And that journey starts with one simple decision: to build your money strategy with intention, discipline, and wisdom. What's your next step? Section 5. Create a legacy. In the grand scheme of life, success is often measured by milestones, titles earned, money made, deals closed. But if you stop there, you miss the true meaning of achievement. The ultimate move, the next level beyond personal victory, is creating a legacy, something far greater than yourself that outlives your time on this earth. This is what Patrick Bet-David calls moving from winning to significance. Because here's the truth: no one feels fully fulfilled by success alone. True fulfillment comes when your life's work impacts others in a meaningful, lasting way. Legacy is the imprint you leave on the world, the ideas, values, and influence that shape the future long after you're gone. It's about the people you've lifted, the knowledge you've shared, and the culture you've built. While winning might bring you temporary satisfaction, legacy grants you enduring purpose. Why does legacy matter? Because deep down, every human wants to know that their existence mattered, that they made a difference, that their life was more than a fleeting moment. If you don't consider your legacy, you risk living a life that feels hollow despite outward success. You'll miss the joy of knowing you helped raise the next generation. You passed on wisdom, and you contributed something valuable to the world. Patrick Bet-David's life and work exemplify this principle. After achieving remarkable success in business, he could have simply retired, enjoyed his wealth, and lived quietly. Instead, he chose to build Valuetainment, a platform dedicated to educating, inspiring, and mentoring entrepreneurs around the world. Through his videos, talks, and mentorship programs, Patrick has created a legacy that extends far beyond his own achievements. His vision is clear: to equip the next generation of leaders not only with skills, but with the mindset and values necessary to succeed ethically and impactfully. He understands that true power lies in lifting others, in multiplying influence through mentorship and storytelling. This is where his passion truly shines, not in what he's accomplished for himself, but in how he empowers others to break through their limits and build their own legacies. Creating a legacy starts with intentionality. It means asking yourself tough questions. What mark do you want to leave on the world? Who are the people you're meant to influence? What gifts, knowledge, or resources do you have that can change lives? Legacy requires you to think beyond your immediate needs and desires, considering the ripple effects of your actions over time. Practically speaking, creating legacy involves several key actions. Mentorship is one of the most powerful tools, sharing your experience, guiding others through their challenges, and helping them avoid pitfalls. Philanthropy, whether through time, money, or skills, enables you to give back and improve communities. Storytelling preserves your journey, lessons, and values for future generations. Building a platform, whether a business, a community, or a movement, provides a vehicle for multiplying your impact. Patrick's story offers a vivid example. He mentors upcoming entrepreneurs, invests in promising leaders, and creates content that educates millions. His focus isn't on fleeting fame or wealth, but on sustainable influence that shapes character and capability. This is legacy in action, strategic, purposeful, and heartfelt. Here's a challenge for you. Reflect deeply on what the world would lose if you didn't share your unique gifts. What talents, insights, or experiences are only yours to offer? Legacy is personal and unique. No one else can leave exactly the impact that you can. Consider who you're meant to impact and why. How can you begin today to step into that role? Creating a legacy isn't about waiting until the end of your life to give back. It's a daily choice to live intentionally, to invest in others, and to build something that matters beyond your own success. It's about planting seeds today that will grow long after you're gone. Remember, success fades, influence fades, but legacy endures. It's the highest form of wealth, the greatest expression of leadership, and the most profound fulfillment you can achieve. So, ask yourself, what legacy will you create? How will you ensure your life leaves the world better than you found it? Because in the end, that's the true measure of a life well lived. Conclusion. Your next move starts now. Here we are, at the crossroads of knowledge and action. After diving deep into the powerful ideas from Patrick Bet-David's Your Next 5 Moves, you're no longer just dreaming or hoping. You're equipped. You understand that success isn't about random luck or talent alone, it's about strategic thinking, clarity, reasoning, building the right strategy, scaling systems, mastering power, reassessing, building mental toughness, growing wealth intelligently, and ultimately creating a legacy that lasts beyond your own lifetime. But here's the truth that can't be overstated. Strategy, no matter how brilliant, is useless without execution. You might feel inspired right now. That surge of energy, the clarity of your vision, the fire of motivation. But inspiration is only the spark. Execution is the fuel that keeps the fire burning. The only question you face today is this: what is your next move? Because knowing what to do and actually doing it are two very different things. Too many people get stuck in analysis paralysis, forever planning their next step but never taking it. Don't let that be you. Your journey to success, freedom, and fulfillment begins with a single, deliberate action. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be monumental, but it has to be consistent and purposeful. Maybe it's writing down your vision with crystal clear clarity. Maybe it's committing to controlling your emotional decisions with logic. Maybe it's designing that tailored strategy you've been putting off, or delegating 3 tasks this week so you can focus on high-impact activities. Whatever it is, take that first step today. Don't wait for the right moment. That moment is now. Why does this matter so much? Because every day you delay is a day lost in your journey toward the life you want. Those 5 moves you've learned about aren't abstract concepts. They're practical, battle-tested steps that successful leaders and entrepreneurs use to win. And when you commit to them, you gain control over your future. You move from reaction to anticipation, from chaos to clarity, from hoping to intentionality. Here's something powerful to hold on to. One day, your life will flash before your eyes. Make sure it's a movie worth watching. Imagine looking back and knowing you played to win. You didn't settle for mediocrity or just getting by. You took risks, learned from failure, built systems, mastered your mindset, grew wealth, and, most importantly, left a legacy that impacted lives. You chose significance over fleeting success. This isn't just about business or money. It's about becoming the best version of yourself and designing a life of meaning and freedom. The lessons from your next 5 moves aren't just theories. They're a blueprint for action. Your next move can change everything, but only if you act. So, here's my challenge to you. Pick one thing from this video, one insight, one strategy, one mindset shift, and commit to doing it right now or by the end of today. Write it down. Tell someone. Take the step. Momentum begins with motion. If this video has helped you see your path more clearly or sparked a new level of motivation, I want to hear about it. Drop a comment below sharing your favorite insight or your next move. Share this video with a friend who needs this message, because we rise by lifting others.